American football in Finland.
The voice in your ears and the face on your screen. I'm Perfect Purvis, and this is American Football in Finland. Today, I'm joined by my co-host, Chris Green. What's going on, Chris?
What's up? We back again.
Yep.
Just me and you.
Hey, this is how it goes. The AFF podcast is available everywhere you listen to your podcast, and you can see us visually here on YouTube. Wherever you listen or watch, be sure to subscribe, follow, and like us. Anyone who doesn't like, subscribe, or follow us, we know you're a hater, but that's okay. We're going to do the show anyways, as we do. So, Maple League teams are back in action on Thursday with the Wausau Royals versus Helsinki Roosters. And then the Kuopio Steelers play the Loya Crusaders on Friday. And then Saturday, we end up with the Porvoo Butchers versus Seinäjoki Crocodiles. So we'll spend a little bit of time talking about each one of those matchups. We'll start with the Royals at 3-8 versus the Roosters, who are 10-1. What's a storyline or question you got for this one, Chris?
The Roosters going to rest any starters. So we already know they're guaranteed the number 1 seed now. Like, is it important for them to get more reps right now? Or is it important to rest the starters? We know Johannes is carrying a bit of a knock, so we're probably unlikely to see him.
Mm-hmm.
So they may as well rest him for another week. So they've got that. Ron Elani, we know he got injured as well, so they'll probably end up resting him again. But then it's just a case of, do they rest any other starters on their offense or defense moving into this game? If it was me, I probably wouldn't, because I want momentum going into the – I don't believe in resting players. I would probably want momentum going into the playoffs, because you're going to play against a tough opposition, and you want to be game ready. And you've got a nice opponent here in the Royals, which you should be able to beat quite comfortably. So you've got to get some momentum moving into the playoffs, and I feel like, for me, if it was me, I probably wouldn't, but it'd be interesting to see if they do or not.
I'm just going to piggyback off of yours, because that's what I was thinking as well, is who are the Roosters going to rest? And I said they should rest people. I agree that Johannes definitely should not be playing.
Yeah, I get those two. I get Johannes and Lane, because if they're carrying little knocks, then yeah, by all means, rest them for the week. But I don't feel like the whole team, you should rest any more starters. Like
I think Ethan Greenfield sits the hell down, because Ethan Greenfield don't need no more reps. He's good.
Yeah, fair. I get that one as well.
And I think you start Ambrose, but you don't play him second half. Like he's not going to get a full game. But I would have said before last week, I would have said you sit Bryce Nunnally as well. But after last week, you don't sit Bryce Nunnally. He got to get his stats back. Like I don't care what anybody's saying. There's one thing that the Roosters have done this year, and that is make sure that their top guys have decent stats. And you've seen it. Like, they've made sure that they play enough to get their stats before they take anybody out. And Nunnally is owed a week of stats because he didn't get any last week. So I think – and that's going to be interesting, because you don't really want to force him the ball in this type of game. But you kind of have to, because you don't want him playing the whole game either.
He's currently tied with the most receiving touchdowns this season with 15. Him and Alpha have got 15 each. But he's only got 703 receiving yards, so he's not going to get over 1,000. But
yeah, it's not about yards for him; it's the touchdowns, because he's a kind of more like a touchdown machine than yards. You watch most of if you pay attention to most of the games that they've played, he gets the touchdowns. Johannes might get a lot of yards, but they really spread the ball around yards-wise.
He's got 45 catches, so a third of his catches are for touchdowns. That says it all.
Yeah, when he does catch the ball, it's usually a big play type of situation. That's why limiting him to no catches last week was so important for the team they played against. But again, in this game, it's like you got to give him the ball 2 or 3 times in the first half and then shut him down. But if he doesn't get his touchdowns, and now that we've said that, him and Alpha are tied, that might become a thing in this one, because we know Alpha's going to score. Or maybe because then the Roosters have to, how do they stop Alpha? I think I agree with you on the defensive side. You don't rest everybody, because defensive stats are hard to come by anyways. So you can't just be taking games off and risking it. Like early in the season, Julian Bell was like leading the league in interceptions, and then he won a couple weeks with no interceptions. It wasn't because he wasn't playing well, just didn't get any action. So this might be a game, especially playing against the kid at quarterback for the Royals. He gets a freebie, and that makes his stats look more accurate to what they should be. I think that's one thing. The Roosters should play for stats. That's what I think. What about? I mean, there's no matchup because we don't know who's going to be playing. We think their starters here, but I mean, it's the same matchup it always is.
The key matchup. I'll give you the key matchup for the Roosters. Getting hurt to not getting hurt. They're going to the playoffs. They don't want to get hurt. So it's all about getting this game, getting it done, getting out of there injury-free, padding some stats along the way, and getting ready for the playoffs. So that's the key matchup.
Yeah, are the Roosters the home team or the Royals? Oh, the Royals are home team. That's a long trip. Yeah. It might even be an interesting aspect, might be how many Roosters players go. Yeah. It's a Thursday in Vasa. That's 8 hours from Helsinki.
And the game doesn't mean anything, really.
Yeah. I mean, they might be going up there with the U20 team. Who knows? Because that's not.
I can't see it. I can't see them going up with. I still feel like they're going to play a strong, at least for the first half. They're going to play a strong unit still. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do because, like you say, it's a Thursday. It's a long trip.
Yeah, the Thursday game, like. You got some guys on that team that got to go to work. It's like I would love to see actually Olin out there on Thursday in Vasa. But if that man call and say, hey, I got to go to work on Friday, I can't do it, I'm not going to be upset. I'm not going to be upset. It's just one of those things. But again, I think they'll have enough to do it, but I also think that there's a large amount of their reserve players who have been playing. So it's not like you're going to lose a lot. You're just not going to have that like necessarily overpowering star power, which again, I don't think that's what you need to beat the Royals. So I think they'll be fine. Again, it's the key matchup for me is going to be stop Alpha Jallo. That's all you have to do. If you focus on that, the rest will take care of itself. Someone else on their team will make a mistake that you can capitalize on, and your team is good enough to win the game. So you just go from there.
Are you a fan of the American Football in Finland podcast? Show your support in style. Rock our logo proudly on hoodies, t-shirts, beanies, and snapbacks, all designed for fans like you. Join us in celebrating American football in Finland. Grab your gear and be a part of the AFF community.
All right, second game will be Kuopio Steelers at 8-3 versus the Loya Crusaders at 1-10. Another game that means nothing. But what's an interesting storyline or question you have, Chris?
All right, here we go. Steelers, are you going to finally get things clicking on your offense? You need to, and this is the thing I'm talking about with this new quarterback. So you're looking at me funny, but what I mean by that is this chemistry needs to keep building for you to be able to make a good push in the playoffs to be able to beat the Crocodiles, because that's who you're going to be playing. So right now is the time to get some stats, to get some confidence, to get things down that you've been working on in training and put that into practice against a live opposition. Trigal, you need to be practicing your reads. Yeah, you need to be looking at who your receivers are, who you want to go to in what situation, what routes are going to be running on what situation versus what coverage. It is time now just to try what you need to do to be able to beat the Crocodiles. It's a dry run because, again, the game means nothing. So it's an opportunity for you to get some chemistry, build some reps together, get that game speed ready. If I'm the Steelers, I'm playing my starters for the whole game because they need to, especially on offense. Not necessarily on defense, but on offense, they need to play their starters the whole game because they need to get their offensive scheme down, especially Trigal working with the starters is so important and imperative moving forward into the playoffs that they get the chemistry down, they get the reps down so that they're ready to go at full speed when they play the Crocodiles in a couple of weeks' time. So, yeah, that's my storyline.
I get you. I'm going to go a little bit different, but also very similar. Storyline for me is this is a stat game. Like, It's the last game of the season. Let's get those stats up. Chris, if you got time, go look at their stats. Look at the top players from.
I got it. So Austin Brock's very close for 1,000 yards. So Austin Brock is on 934.
So he needs to get 1,000. We need to make sure you get 1,000.
Yeah.
How many? Yeah. How many yards does Peon have? I know we should have him close to 500, right?
All right. Let's have a look. Russian stats.
So Austin Brock only needs 66 yards. We got to get him to 1,000. How many receptions does he have?
Austin Brock has 65. So he's 13 off of Kevin Adams.
So he's 13?
13 away from Kevin Adams.
Receptions.
Yeah.
Hey, give that man 13 screens. I promise you he gets those 60 yards from 13 screens.
And he's got 8 touchdowns.
I'm not worried about the touchdowns. I can't, there's only so much you can do about that. But at least get the yard. Peon, go ahead.
Peon's not turning up on the stats yet, so I guess that he's not played enough games to be able to go on to the average yards per game. He's not showing up on the stat sheet yet.
Okay.
Well, I'd have to work it out. I'd have to go to each individual game, but
I don't have time for that. But whatever he has, try to get it to the nearest 500. Offensive points per game, you're probably at like 25 or something. Try to get enough that it boosts up to 30 by the end of the season. Defensively, shut them out so that your points per game number goes down. Defense is harder to manipulate the stats. So I would just say try to pitch a shutout best you can to lower how many points you've given up this year. And offensively, get those stats. Honestly, unless Peon is really close to like 500 yards, I don't even run the ball in this game. I only throw the ball because that's the only way we're going to get everybody else stats up. Because the only people I think that are really close on stats is like what you said, Austin Brock. You can get him to 1,000. You can make him the receiving receptions leader. That would be a little. I don't think he should get 13 catches because I feel like that'd be a little shady to Kevin Adams. Like it's a little messed up. But
I don't think he gets 13 catches anyway, if I'm honest.
See, that's because you're not doing it right. You didn't give him the ball, man. But he should at least get to the 1,000. And if he gets over 1,000, that would make him the actual leader, right? Because Kevin Adams ended at 1,000, and he doesn't.
Yeah, Kevin Adams 78 receptions, 1,000 yards on the dot. So if he gets 67 yards, he's 1,001. So
and that's one thing that Austin Brock and Josh Taylor had told us at the beginning of the year. They had came here expecting to break records offensively. I don't think they can do what they expected, but we can at least get a leading receiver out of Austin Brock. So that'd be interesting to see. Yeah, but I think it's a stat game. What about matchups? Anything worth looking at in this one?
There's nothing worth looking at. The Crusaders are poor, aren't they? It's not even worth looking at a matchup in this one. I guess again the matchup is staying healthy because they want to stay healthy for the playoffs.
Worst defense in the Maple League. That's what I know. Worst defense in the Maple League. Nobody gives up more points. So you have a chance for 60, maybe 70 points in this game if you play it right. If you play it right. Interesting aspect. Last game of the year for Crusaders, and we still don't know if there's relegation this year or not. But if there is, it'd be good to see them go.
Hey there, fans of American football in Finland. Want to show some love and support to your favorite podcast? For just €3, you can buy us a cup of coffee and help keep our podcast running strong. But why stop at one cup? Why not support each host with a cup? Visit buymeacoffee.com and show your support today. Cheers to keeping the conversation going.
All right, the real game of the weekend. It's like the last 3 weeks has been like one game that really counts. And this game still doesn't really count. But Porvoo Butchers versus Senioki Crocodiles. What's the storyline, man? Like, there should be one in this one for sure.
Storyline or question. So my question to the Butchers is can you cause an upset? You played well last week. You had an opportunity to beat the Roosters. Like, if you can beat the Crocodiles this week and cause an upset, because it will be an upset because the Crocodiles will be the favorite, But if you can cause an upset, that is going to give you crazy momentum going into the playoffs when you got to play the Roosters a week after, because you know you could have beat the Roosters.
Yep.
If you'd have executed that a little bit better on offense, you would have beat the Roosters. Because I feel like defensively you played well, as we said earlier on the last episode, was that defensively they did enough to win the game, but offensively they didn't. So if you can get that offense going in this game and upset the Crocodiles, if the Butchers defense can do to Christian Powell what they did to Ethan Greenfield and restrict him to like 70 yards or so on 19 carries, 20 carries, or whatever it was, then you're going to be in a position to be able to win this game, because you have to restrict Christian Powell. If you restrict Christian Powell, it gives you an opportunity to win the game. And that will give you, as I said, crazy momentum going into the playoffs, because you know now you can beat 2 top 4 teams. You know you can beat the Roosters because you should have beat them last week. So on any given day, you can beat them if you play to your potential. You know you're going to be able to beat the Crocodiles if you've already beat them once. Obviously, you played them week 1, so week 1 was a long time ago. You're now playing them in the final week of the season. So it's an opportunity now to get that momentum, to get an opportunity to be on a high going into the playoffs, because there's nothing more important than momentum. Momentum is everything. Like in football, momentum is everything. If you've got the momentum from one game to the next, or from one quarter to the next quarter, it's so important because it can change things so drastically. It's a mental game as well, and it can change things drastically. If you know you're capable of beating the Crocodiles, you know you're capable of beating the Roosters, that mindset's going to be there at the start of the game. Then it's like, well, we got loads of confidence. We're going to beat these guys. We're going to turn them over. We did it last year. We're going to do it again. So, yeah.
They need that confidence. For me, I think I said this for every game, and I'm going to keep saying it. Stat padding. It's the last game of the week. Chris, look up how many yards does Christian Powell have? He's for sure going to be the rushing leader.
Let's have a look. Passing yards. Rushing. Christian Powell, 1,094. He is currently ahead of Ethan Greenfield. Ethan Greenfield's on 928.
Okay. So
it looks
just, watch Thursday's game, see if we need more yards. If we need more yards, we play them. If we don't need more yards, we sit them. I don't think the Crocodiles are worried about winning or losing this game. And I think that's
currently 2 touchdowns ahead of Ethan Greenfield as well. He's on 17, Greenfield's on 15.
I mean, I would round up to 20 and play them then and see if we can get to 30. But what about Christian R&B Day? Like, where's he at yards and touchdowns?
So passing yards, he is the league leader with 2,735. And he is the league leader in passing touchdowns with 31. Ambro has 29 in second passing touchdowns. So no one's going to catch him on yards, but Ambro could catch him on touchdowns.
Just want to throw this out here. I said privately to someone before the season that Christian R&B, they had a chance to lead the league in passing yards. I didn't say it publicly. I know I didn't, but I feel good that it actually came to fruition. Because I saw that from him. I saw him play in an all-star game earlier that year. So really good on him. I don't see any other stats they need. So if that's the case,
if he gets
show up.
Well, no, if he gets 265 yards, he'll have 3,000 passing yards on the season. So,
well, why not? Let's get 265 then. I say stats, but also this isn't a game like those other games where you're just going to get stats. The Butchers are probably going to come to play. So it might not be that easy. And honestly, if I was the Crocodiles, I would sit Powell and let someone else run the ball and just run the clock. I would let Christian R&B Day run the ball and maybe not pass it, because I don't want to risk throwing an interception, because I feel like there's probably somebody on the Butchers like Zach Wright who has like, what is that, 6, 7 interceptions on the season? And I just
6.
Yeah. What did he have last year? Like a similar number?
Interceptions?
Yeah. Didn't he have like 8 last year?
I'm going to find it. Give me 2 seconds.
I think he had like 8 interceptions last year or something. I don't want him getting an interception record if I was the Crocs. I mean, obviously, if Zach Wright, let's go get some more interceptions. Yeah, 9. Okay, so he won't catch up to his record. So I guess you can throw the ball. He's not going to throw 3 interceptions. So again, I'm all about the stats in this game because I think the Crocodiles won't play it as difficult as competitive. But I think the Butchers do to a certain point. And I guess look at the Butchers stats, like their receivers and Brandon Gwinner, are they up there or what is this stats looking like?
They haven't really got. Mickey J's got 468 yards rushing. That's their biggest rusher. Passing, Gwinner's got 2,318 with 26 passing touchdowns. So again, he's probably going to be second or third.
I get close to
between him and Ambro.
Yeah, you get close to throw for 2,500 yards. Nothing wrong with that, man. That's pretty.
And then he has got 261 rushing yards, Gwinner. Let's have a look at the receivers. So receivers, Cofield's got 487. Seppenen's got 665.
So, get him to 700. That's 712 games is solid, I think, right?
Yep.
It's not bad. Let's get Seppenen to 700 and call it a day, guys. I think
Lucas has got 553. So
I guess try to get him to 600, but I think if he's injured at all, they just don't play him.
Yeah, they probably won't play him. Yeah,
they just probably don't play him. But yeah, interesting aspect for this one. I don't know. It might be an important game. We might see both of these.
An interesting aspect could be potentially the preview of the Maple League final.
That's what I was going to say. This could be this could be a final game. A game
could be a warm up. Could be a warm up. So, we could see these two teams play again in the final. It's mathematically possible. But
yeah.
Who knows?
Oh, here's an interesting aspect. Last year, just random, but last year when these two teams played, and it was the second time they played, and you had the Butchers at home and the Crocodiles showed up, there was that controversial call about a touchdown in the back of the end zone.
Yeah.
So, interesting aspect, Butchers, make sure you got enough referees at this game. Yeah, very interesting. All right. I'm going to try to see if I can use this banger we have here. It's time for weekend picks. You like that? Are you an athlete looking for a community? Are you an athlete who feels alone in the process of trying to get to the next level? Well, join Ballers Members, a tribe for athletes in Europe, elite level mindset led by international legends Alpha Juice Jallo and Jock Crawford. Have a brother right in your backyard. If this is the community you're looking for, DM Ballers Internationals on Instagram at BallersINT. So it's time for Pick'ems. It's been a crazy season of Pick'ems. First of all, don't nobody really care about y'all's picks, but we're doing them anyways. Sometimes we just be making them up. But right now, our Pick'em rankings is it top? No, in first by himself is Andy B at 34-5. So his picks are going to be really important this week. And then tied in second, we got a 3-way tie in second between Coach Mike, Coach Q, and Finland Swami at 33-6. And then in fifth place, Chris Green, 32-7. Sixth place, Jamal Clay, 31-8. And then tied for seventh is Ellie M and me, Perfect Purvis, bringing up the rear. I'll tell you one thing, guys. My pick'em, it might not be great. Sometimes I'll be going off my mind, sometimes off my heart, sometimes off of the color of the sky. But I'll tell you one thing. What I be right about most of the time is when I'm picking who gonna win the damn championship. Except for like the last 2 years. But
so completely irrelevant.
Yeah. Don't trust my picks. Maybe that's why I should have went with this. Don't trust my picks. I might not be the best guy to be making picks out here. But let's get into these games. We've already talked about the game, so let's go over who we want and why. If you want to follow our picks and the Pick'em group online, we'll be on Instagram at American Football in Finland, and you can make your comments there. So, Chris, who you got and why?
So first game of the week is the Roosters and the Vassar. Before I do my picks, actually, LEM's picks last week were crazy. It was almost like she was picking the opposite team to what everyone else was going to pick just on purpose.
I want to tell you, she sent me a message. She was like, why did I make those picks? And I was like, I don't know why you made those picks. Those are the picks you made. So I think she catch up. I think she just didn't want to beat me too bad, so she just want. I think I caught up by a game by her making bad picks. So that she's helping me out. She appreciates it. But go ahead. Sorry.
So anyway, Roosters and Royals. I'm going to go with the Roosters, even though I feel like they may sit some guys either halfway through or whatever. I feel like they want the momentum going into the playoffs. They should be able to beat the Royals. I mean, all they've got to do is try and stop Alpha or at least restrict him as much as they can to be able to win the game. So, yeah, the Roosters for me are going to win. Then we've got the Steelers versus the Crusaders. Again, another easy pick. It's going to be the Steelers. They're going to win this game. It's simple. The Crusaders got the worst defense in the league. Not got much going on offense either this season, apart from like one receiver they've got going, and obviously Moses Harris as well. But I don't even know. We haven't seen him for a while, so who knows what's going on there. But, yeah, the Steelers are going to win this game. And then the last game, we've got the Porvoo Butchers and the Senioki Crocodiles, the hardest game to pick up the week. And last week, I decided I was going to go with my head, and pick the Roosters. This week, I'm going to pick the Butchers. The Butchers are going to upset the Crocodiles, and I feel like they're going to pull it out of the bag this week. They didn't quite do it last week, but I feel like they're going to do it this week against the Crocodiles and get some momentum going into the playoffs. So, yeah, Butchers, I'm picking you this week, so you better do your job and win the game. That's me.
Yeah, I think my picks are going to be much quicker. I'm picking – I'll go look at this. The Roosters because they're better. The Steelers because they're better. The Butchers because they care. That's where I'm going. I honestly, I believe in my heart of hearts, this game means nothing to the Crocodiles because it won't change anything if they lose. And I think them having more idea of like playoff mentality that they're going to take it a little easier. And I think the Butchers have to prove something in this game. They have to play well. If they don't play well, it's just not the way that they want to go into playoffs. The Crocodiles, they're the Crocodiles. They can go into playoffs off of 5 losses, and you still expect them to play like the Crocodiles. Like, the win or loss doesn't change who they are. But for the Butchers, Q said it multiple times this season, they're inconsistent. So for them, they need to have a good showing so that they have some – what is it? What did you say earlier? What was the word you used going into the playoffs? Some momentum. Some momentum going into the playoffs. I'm sorry, my English is getting much worse. I live in Finland. We don't speak much English out here. Not high level English. It's very much hello, goodbye, see you, stuff like that, and words like moose.
I'm going to say, before you make even more of a clown out of yourself by more rubbish, I'm going to say the perfect scenario for me this week is that Q, Mike, and Swami all pick the Crocodiles and they lose because then we got a 4-way tie. That's what I want to happen.
So you need them to pick the Crocs.
I want them to pick the Crocs for the Butchers to win.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. I mean, hopefully, yeah. I got to make sure everybody makes their picks before this episode comes out.
Correct.
Right? Yeah, definitely. Yes. Everybody's got to make their picks in time, and then we'll go from there. But, yeah, I got to get Q's picks too. But I think it's going to be an interesting week. That last game is a game that really – it's on Saturday too. So there's a lot of time that both teams can decide how they want to go about it. So we really just don't know what's going to happen. But it will decide who wins Pick'em this year. That's for sure. And I think everyone needs to pick opposite of Andy so that you have a chance, right?
Mm. Well, I mean, let's be fair. Andy's going to pick the Royals and the Steelers, isn't he? It just comes down to that last game. So
yeah,
and Mike, Q, and Swami are only one game behind him, so they need to pick opposite him to be able to with a chance to be top, I guess. So.
I don't know why y'all even pay attention to who's top and bottom, because I don't remember from any year who's won this damn pick'em.
I won it last year. I remember.
I know. I know what I do remember. I remember who wins the Maple Bowl.
Yeah,
that's pretty much about it. And even that is I only remember for the last couple of years. I didn't pick the right winner last year, but the year before,
I don't think anyone did. I don't think anyone picked the Butchers to win last year.
No, but I got the hat, so I'm cool with that. Go Butchers! I'm going for the Butchers again. I picked them to win this year, so we'll see how that works out.
We all did. My
initial, I had them. Oh, even our second one is going to be bad this year because we all picked the Steelers. And like, what? I mean, who knew?
I think the Steelers can beat the Crocs.
I think the Crocs can beat the Steelers. I think the Steelers can beat the Crocs. I think the Roosters can beat the Butchers. I think the Butchers can beat the Roosters.
I think the Butchers could beat the Crocs. I think the Butchers.
I think the Butchers.
The Steelers could beat the Roosters. And the Steelers
I think they all could beat each other. It's a melee. It's exciting. It's going to be a great playoff for the first. Well, we say it's going to be a great playoffs until they play the games because the games usually don't go out the way that we expect. But I think it's going to be a lot of
the expectations this year because I feel like because we've had 3 real cruddy teams, the fact that we've got 4 very good teams.
Yeah. And they play well against each other. That's what's really good. I think we're going to, instead of having, like a blowout game, we're going to get a lot of 21-14, 24-10, something like very like scores that are indicative of the teams and the matchups and the coaching all put together. I think that's an exciting thing. But, yeah, that's the pick'ems. I guess we get out of here. All right, that's it for this episode of American Football in Finland. Any last words before we get out of here, Chris?
I think this could be a record, isn't it? Like just over 30 minutes of an episode. Like we actually just nailed that one straight through. I suppose because there's 2-0 games that we didn't have much to talk about. But
I didn't say anything about that. There is nothing going on for the last week. That's how it goes. But anything you want to throw out there?
No, man, I'm just excited for the playoffs. Like, I'm excited for this Butchers and Crocodiles game this week as well. And I'm interested to see, like we said earlier, like what teams do. Are they going to play starters for half? Are they going to sit guys? Are they not going to sit guys? Like, for multiple teams, like, I'm interested to see what the thought process is from the coaching as well, which, can always give you a kind of an inkling of their thoughts moving on into playoffs. Like, are they going to be conservative? Are they going to just say, you know what, stuff it? We're playing our guys, that's it. Or we're playing our guys for a half, and then we're benching them, and we don't really care about the game. So I'll be interested to see those things from the 3 games this week. But I'm excited for that Crocodiles Butchers game.
Yeah, I'm more excited for this after this week is over. I want to see all the postseason stuff. This is the last week is great, but I want to see all the players from like the non-playoff teams, how they start putting out like their highlights and stuff online on Instagram, and I start seeing everybody's stats, like what they did for the season, things like that. Obviously, with us, we're gonna start, voting for awards during this last week and at the end of the season. Because we like to have our awards done before the playoffs, so that it doesn't influence us before we let everybody know. So I'm excited about that stuff, the superlatives of the season, because the first round of playoffs is going to be fun, but, skip to the Maple Bowl for me.
Yeah. And our All Finland team as well. Everyone's voting on that at the moment. So,
yeah.
Cool to see who makes the All Finland team this year as well. But, the AFF All Finland team. The list that really matters, our list, the one that counts, right?
Jay, I'm just saying, very transparent. We vote, we have media vote, and we have coaches vote. And that's how we make our lists. I don't know if anybody else ever tells you who votes for their list, or they just put them out. I don't know. And if you don't like the list, make your own list. That's how I feel about it. Okay, getting too negative. We're going to hop up out of here. We appreciate everybody watching this episode. Good luck to all the teams this weekend, and we'll see you next week right here on the AFF Podcast. Make sure to subscribe, follow, like, and share on all social channels at American Football in Finland. Until next time, never forget.
T.
I
F.
We out of here.
Yo.